Thou Shalt Laugh, starring Dana Daniels, Rex Havens, Taylor Mason, Michael Jr., Isaac Whitting, and Joe Wan. And now, Emmy Award-winning TV personality, national syndicated radio host, world-famous songwriter, and a guy that can save you 15% or more on your car insurance, John Tesh.
Woo! We are so excited to be here. How many of you guys have seen Thou Shalt Laugh 1, 2, or 3? Yes, a lot of you guys, yeah. Those of you who haven't, you don't. This will still make sense. You don't have to see 1, 2, and 3. My job is just to sort of stay out of the way, but to make sure that the comedians get introduced and make sure that we keep everything in order. So I am your master of ceremonies. Normally in a concert venue like this, I'm playing a piano, so I feel a little weird, but maybe we can get one out here later. One of my, just to look at it. The cool thing for me today is that I had an opportunity to hang out with the comedians all day, and you really do have an enormous opportunity here to meet some very, very funny people. And oddly enough, it's all clean comedy. How about that? Yeah. When does that ever happen? The fun thing for me today, too, is I found out that I have a lot of things in common with these new comedians that I met. A lot of the guys backstage were actually in the marching band, like I was in junior high and high school. For example, Michael Jr., who you will meet soon, he played tuba, and Taylor Mason played saxophone. Show of hands, how many people were in the marching band when you were in junior high and high school? Yeah? Okay, hold them up, keep them up there. Look around. Those are the people who never had a date while they were doing that. Also in junior high school, right at the same time that I was a geeky kid in the band, I also had really bad acne. But I didn't have like the all over the face acne. I had acne. I had one acne, like right in the middle of my forehead. It was like a horn that filled up once a month. So I smelled of Clearasil, and I was also hideously thin. And my feeling is that my parents, they got together and they had a meeting, and they said, listen, this kid is never going to date looking like this and smelling like this. This is probably a good time to finish him off. Let's just put braces on his teeth and just do that. And so you can't open your mouth with all this hardware in your mouth. So on the off chance, for me in junior high school, on the off chance that a cheerleader would wander off from the herd from her area of the school into my area with the overhead projectors, and if I tried to smile at her with those rubber bands in, it would be like, I'm terribly sorry. Welcome to SeaWorld. The Dolphin Show is next. Now, my parents were also very frugal. My mom sent me to school with a bologna sandwich and a bag with potato chips. Now, those of you who had braces, what happens when you put a bologna sandwich into a mouthful of barbed wire? What happens? Well, if you have the sandwich on a Monday, by Thursday, you can still reach back with your tongue to a molar for a little snack. So my special skill in junior high school, with a mouth fully loaded with bologna after lunch, if I reached for a high C on Rachmaninoff's Prelude in C sharp minor, I could blow half a bologna sandwich into the flute section, no problem. That's not the comedy, that's just therapy. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, in the house, Rex Havens.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. And let me say from the heart, thank you for what you do, because what all you fine people do makes the world go round. You work hard with your brains and your sweat. You go to work every day. Your families and your communities are better off for what you do, because what you do is important. And that is where you and I differ. Because I'm a comedian, and it is one of the dumbest wastes of human energy ever invented. I don't have to kid myself about that. We don't do anything terribly valuable like you do. We stare at the world and we try to figure out things which, I'm going to be honest with you, we're never going to figure out. Things we say I don't understand. Spitting image, where'd that come from? Spitting image. Look at him there, Jim. He's the spitting image of him there. Did anybody ever walk up to somebody and say, you know, you look a lot like Bob? I don't think they should be allowed to call that show Survivor unless some of them don't. Am I the only person that's nervous checking into a hospital with the word memorial in the name? Can't figure out anything. Can't figure out the names of the cars. There's a lot of cars that don't even have a name. They have a number. Why is that? That only makes sense if you're trying to get the biggest number. I'll give you an example. Mazda's got a 323, 626, 929. Pontiac had a 1,000. Audi has a 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Pontiac had a 6,000. Saab has a 9,000. Nissan just said to heck with it. Now they make an Infinity. Top that. Chrysler Mitsubishi's little nuts. They got a Vision, an Eclipse, and a Mirage. A Vision, which is really something to look at. An Eclipse, that's something you're not supposed to look at. Mirage, something you're not even really looking at. And they got cars named for the heart of the big city all the way on out to the sticks. For the inner city, Metro. A little further out, Suburban. Further out still, Town Car. Got one that can't decide, Town and Country. Further out still, Villager. Beyond civilization, the Yukon and the Outback. And way the heck out there, Mercury and Saturn. All those things we can't figure out. I always wondered, can the cars do what their names sound like they can do? And if they can, then apparently they can do a wide range of things. Get one that does what you need doing. If you're going someplace and there are no roads, get a Pathfinder or a Trailblazer. If nobody's ever been where you're going to need a Discovery or an Explorer. If you're a little bit lonely, I say get yourself an Escort. Or maybe an Amigo or a Sidekick. You know, shop around a little bit, you know. Plymouth made a Reliant. I had one. They call it that because it made you reliant on public transportation, by golly. Get the car based on the kind of trip you want to take. If you want to take a short trip, get a Sprint. Slightly longer trip, get a Journey. Want to take a hopeful trip, get a Quest. A long, hard trip, get an Expedition or an Excursion. And if you want to stay away for years, get an Odyssey. But get the car that fits your mood. If you want to be daring, get an Intrepid. If you want to be a gentleman, get a Galant. If you want to go overseas, get a Passport. If you can't concentrate, get a Focus. If you got a score to settle, get an Avenger. If your batteries are low, get a Charger. And if you're in a bad marriage, for goodness sakes, get an Escape. That brings us to men and women. I think that's why they were kind enough to invite us here. I'm glad men and women is the biggest mystery in life we will never understand. I'm glad so many women are here. I'd like to speak first to the women. Now, I can only speak as a man. It is the handicap I was born with. I only know two things about men and women that are always true. My whole stupid life, only two things. It comes down to two things. Number one, I'm a man. Number two, I'm sorry. But if anybody honestly today still thinks it's a man's world, you owe it to yourself to have a wedding. On the wedding day, my young unmarried male friends, that's the day you will find out what a very tiny piece of that day's puzzle you are. A lot of young grooms make a mistake. They go into the wedding day thinking, wow, son of a gun, beautiful hall, beautiful church. I'm half of the happy couple. Surely this day must be a little bit about me. No, not your day. Her day, not your day. All her day, she doesn't even really want you there. She'd get married without you if she could. She may love you and want to be your wife, but if she could have that beautiful day and just leave you at home on the lazy boy, she'd do it every time. Because you're a man, that means in our bride's eyes, we're an accident waiting to happen. You're not going to get to make any big decisions about the day, colors, fabrics, flowers. She'd like to let you, but you're too stupid. And I have no problem with that. The average woman has a better sense of the artistic, don't you think, than the average man? I got married, I found out my beautiful wife, Sarah, wanted us to have checks for the checkbook that were, get this, pretty. I'm a man, I just wanted checks that would clear. Sarah told me we're going to divide the checkbook. I got the deposit slips. Wedding day, fellas, her day. I'm not saying it's a lost cause when it comes to the marriage, but the wedding day, bride's day, understand it, know it going in, and it will go better for you. Everything's about the bride, as it always has been. Her dress costs hundreds, maybe thousands. There's 5 separate fittings after the ceremony. Her dress is carefully, lovingly, clean, pressed, folded, sealed, wrapped in plastic, saved and preserved as an altar and shrine. For life. The groom's clothing is rented. And has to be back to the shop on Monday because another guy needs it next weekend. Don't let it bother you, young men, that 500 other guys got married in your suit. You're still special. 50 years from now, she can hold up that gown with a tear in her eye and say, I got married in that. If the groom can do that, he'll be holding underwear. So my advice, to make it special, you take that underwear home, you stick it on the wall with a nail. 30 years later, you give it to your son to get married in. Point to it every now and then and say, someday you're going to fill those out and make me proud, boy. The ring, the woman's ring is incredible, thousands of dollars. This is a man's ring. $82.50. Most stores throw this in when you buy hers. Because diamonds are a girl's. Man's best friend's a dog. Who thought that up? Women thought that up. Because they're smarter than us, they beat us on that one. Woman's best friend's one of the rarest things on the planet. Man's best friend is so plentiful, we neuter him because we don't want more. If you want to be a good husband, fellas, and I know you do, there's 7 things you need to learn to say to a good woman if you want to keep her for a good long time. They're not easy, but they're important. Ladies, if there's any truth, support me so they learn, okay? Are you ready, guys? This is tough. Number 1, honey. Okay, you were right. I was wrong. Number 2, I'm sorry, and that won't happen again. Number 3, how could I have been so stupid? I don't deserve you, sweetheart. I would marry you all over again. No, you're much prettier than she is. And no, if anything, that dress makes your hips look too small. You should eat something, honey. You're about to blow away, I swear. All studies say men and women equally intelligent, but I believe women have figured out how to use more of their brains. I don't know how you do it, but you do. I know my wife makes more decisions before 7 in the morning than I have to make all day. I found this out the first time I went shopping for women's shoes with my new wife, and that's when I found out that women don't just have shoes. Men just have shoes. If it goes at the end of my leg, it's called a shoe. That's the only name for it. Women don't have a single pair of shoes. They have subcategories for every change in footwear. Women have pumps and clogs and flats and slings and heels and open-toed and mules and spikes and flip-flops and strappy sandals and scrunchy boots and stilettos and wedges and T-straps, and don't forget espadrilles. Men have no idea what these are. It's a code they use to keep us out of the conversation. A man doesn't know a pump from a flat. All a man knows is when you got a flat, you need a pump. And the colors women know. How do you learn them all? But you do. You know every color ever invented. My wife's shoe catalog, unbelievable. I bet every woman here knows what color periwinkle is, right? What color is it? Blue, purple. Yeah, look at the men. How'd they know that? How'd they know that? Because men only know the 8 colors from the big fat crayon box from first grade. That's all we know. We've lost 6 of those. We're down to black and brown, we understand. But my wife's catalog, unbelievable. I never saw a variety like this. Unbelievable. I saw exotic colors like aspen, mauve, ecru, taupe, sea breeze, eggshell, crimson, indigo, khaki, beige, honeysuckle, ivory, lavender, sandstone, heather, mist, teal, satin, flax, coral, cream, nugget, pearl, saddle, daisy, black, ebony, charcoal, raven, midnight, parsley, persimmon, pineapple, periwinkle, papaya, peach, purple, pink, poppy, pixie, powder, pewter, peapod, pansy, pumpkin, pewts, pomegranate, peppermint, pancake, pumpernickel, champagne, and toast. On the other hand, men's shoes, black and brown. Sadly for men, one choice too many. Because we still got to turn to the wife and go, honey, which one should I wear here tonight? Help me out. I got black and brown. I can't make a call. God bless you, folks. You were wonderful. Thank you so much for the laughs. You were just great. Thanks a million.
Well, it's fun so far, right? It's awesome. Yeah. Any of you guys hear our radio show that we do, Music and Intelligence for Your Life? It's it's what I started doing after I left Entertainment Tonight. It is basically music and intelligence for your life, all the information you need to be the smartest person in the room, or just impress your friends at the water cooler next time you are there. If it doesn't move you forward in your life, or if it doesn't cause you to make a big difference in somebody else's life, you won't hear it on the show. And it's basically just all kinds of tidbits that you can either impress your teacher with or use to be germ-free. I've become a germaphobe. But some of the stuff we have on the show, little things that you can use with your friends, like what has more calories, a muffin or a bagel? What do you think? Bagel is wrong. Muffin, 600 calories, bagel, 300 calories. What's the germiest thing in a hotel room? The sheets, yes, the remote, the TV remote. It never gets cleaned. Don't ever touch the TV remote again. Work it with your feet like I do. So we also have on the show all kinds of advice about teenagers, because we have a lot of teen listeners. And there's this new company, new institute. It's called the Teenage Research Institute. Have you heard about this thing? True story. Apparently, you teens are so much of a problem now, they've opened an institute. Fascinating thing from the Teenage Research Institute that I applied to my life. I have a 15-year-old daughter. And it's a piece about what to do as a parent when your teenage daughter, comes out of her bedroom in the morning dressed inappropriately on the way to school. What do you do? The advice is this. You as the parent, you walk into your bedroom. You change your clothes. You come out dressed exactly like your daughter. Which looks great on paper until you've seen me in a tube top and hot pants. All right, are you ready for more real comedy? Here we go. Please welcome Joe Wong.
Hi, everybody. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? I'm an immigrant to this country, and I used to drive a used car with a lot of bumper stickers that are impossible to peel off. And one of them said, "If you don't speak English, go home." And I didn't notice it for 2 years. When I first got my driver's license, I decided to be an organ donor. And I designated my brain because it makes me happy to think that some guy wakes up from a coma and goes, 我怎么想不起来我是谁了? Yeah, that's Chinese. It just means, hey, I can't remember who I am now. And a couple of years ago, I went to an amusement park, and toward the end of a scary ride, they took a picture of me screaming like this. Then they tried to sell it to me. So I bought the picture. And I put it on my driver's license. Just to keep it real, you know. Now I have a driver's license with a picture of a crazy guy in the front. And the back says, brain donor. I hate ants, but a friend of mine was like, hey, Joe, ants are amazing animals because they can carry up to 20 times their body weight. I'm like, big deal. I can carry thousands of ants. And I have a friend whose name is Wei Dai, and he once said to me, hey, Joe, let's go to Canada to see some bears. I said, well, I'm kind of afraid of bears. He said, hey, Joe, you got to remember that bears are more afraid of you than you are of them. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure the bears are wrong. And on top of that, I don't want to go near any bears with some guy whose name is Wei Dai. I tried really hard to become a U.S. citizen because I'm a foreigner, I guess. And in order for me to become a U.S. citizen, I had to take these American history lessons where they ask us questions like, who's Benjamin Franklin? Or like, oh. The reason our convenience store gets robbed. What's the Second Amendment? We're like, oh, the reason our convenience store gets robbed. What is Roe versus Wade? We're like, oh, two ways of coming to the United States. So I'm married now, but I used to be really scared about marriage. I was like, wow, 50% of all marriages end up lasting forever. My wife loves shopping. A lot of times she comes home and goes, hey, Joe, guess how much is the dress? I can never guess the right answer because the correct answer is a story. She's like, well, I set my eyes on it 2 weeks ago. Then I waited until the big sale. Then I got another store credit card. I already had one, but I used your name and social security number. You're now a Victoria's Secret angel now. I'm a father now, and here's the thing. I came from a long line of people who had kids. Oh, you too? Okay. But still, I was really amazed by the birth of my son, you know? I was in that delivery room, holding on my son, thinking to myself, wow, he was just born, and he's already a U.S. citizen. So I said to him, do you even know who's Benjamin Franklin? He peed all over me. You see, basically in this country, they say that 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 2 illegals can make legal.